Yadu, bari papa, bari 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 biri stenden lan go ya bari papa, bari 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 biri stenden lan go. Dilla dilla de yaro gera 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 guru guru yadu. Ya dilla dilla de yaro gera 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 guru guru yadu. Yadu yadu. Bari papa, bari bari bila bari stenden lan go ya bari papa, bari 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 biri stenden lan go.
Shut up and sit down.
And now, streaming live from the sunny Southern California coast, this is Options Uncensored.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. Welcome to Options Uncensored. We're making real options trades in real time together. Let's get right into it. First things first, make sure you have your brokerage account open and ready so you can follow along. Have your YouTube video quality set as high as possible. That way you can read the numbers a whole lot easier. Have a calculator on hand so we can do some easy math together. And finally, remember, this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Let's go over our open positions. Coca-Cola closed today. We'll go over that one in a second. SPY, we have a put spread open. We opened that at 64. So far, we're up $10. So far, so good. Gold's coming in a bit today. So that one's fine. Don't worry about that one. Same thing with XOP. We opened that one at 64. We're making money on that one already. Macy's still got some work to do here, but it's already up $40. So far so good on that one. And finally, Roku opened at 62. We're a little bit behind on this one, but don't worry. These are all November expiration except for the SPY put vertical. That's December. So we got some time on all of these, a couple of weeks here to go. Let's go over Coca-Cola. Let's pull up the chart for this one too so we can explain what happened here. So Coca-Cola, we opened a put spread somewhere around here, on the 3rd or the 4th. And our strikes were the 52.5 and the 50 down here. So we were only risking $250 in the spread. That's the most we could have lost. And I remember when this moved here on the 5th, it moved all the way down against us, actually to the point where we were in the money for the 52.5 strike when we were down like $60-$70 on this trade. But we come back and had it close today. This big move back up, pretty much back to break even and post earnings, so all that earnings volatility is out. So as long as you have enough time and things go your way, a lot of these positions closed as winners. So let's do the math on this one. We made $16 and we only risked $250. So if you have a small account, that's not bad at all. If you've got a $1,000 account, you're only risking $250. So that's 16 divided by 250, 6.4% return. So we had a 6.4% return in a couple of weeks here, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. That's not bad at all. Again, I always say the average return for the S&P over the entire year is around 7 to 9%. We made a 6.4% return in a couple of weeks. So that's really, really good. Just keep doing this over and over and over again, all right? So good trade on Coca-Cola. We sold a put vertical. Closed today. All right, let's find some new stuff. First up, 3M. We have a lot of earnings news to go through today. We'll see if there's anything we could do move-wise post-earnings. Ugly chart on 3M. Let's see who's paying what. So we're doing December expiration now. No more November. On the put side, if you sold the 80 and bought the 75, let's do the math. That's 103 minus 49. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 5.4% potential return. On the call side, if you sold the 100 and bought the 105, that's 59 minus 22. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500. 3.7%. So not much to do here with 3M. Let's move on to GM. I think GM had their earnings report as well. Pretty much flat. When there's no movement after earnings, you're going to get red on both the calls and the puts. They both lost that volatility premium. On the put side, let's look at the chart really quick. It's kind of breaking down here. I wouldn't be crazy about selling the calls or the puts at this point. If you wanted to sell the 25 and buy the 22, that's $300. That's 35 minus 11 divided by 2 divided by 300. 4%, that's not good enough. On the call side, if you sold, it's close, sold the 33, I bought the 36, that's 44 minus 12, divide that by 2, divide that by 300, 5.3% on the call side. That's okay. We'll move on. Intel. There's been some chip news recently. Intel's earnings report is on the 26th. That's in 2 days. So we got to wait till after earnings. And then maybe we'll do something with Intel. GE. Earnings report today. Correct? Yes. 24th is today before the market opened. Up 6%. Wow. Got this big move up here. Wow, I haven't looked at GE in a while. This is a big move. On the call side, if you sold the 125 and bought the 130, what do you get? 100 minus 44 divided by 2 divided by 500, 5.6 if you sold the call spread. The puts I'm not that interested in, maybe. If you sold the 100, bought the 95. 83 minus 43 divided by 2 divided by 500, only 4%. Well, I'm going to mark GE on the call side. And we'll come back if maybe. Next, Raytheon RTX. Same thing, post earnings. Up 6%. Earnings today before the open. They're up. Looks like they've already sold off quite a bit. Let's see what's paying what. On the put side, I'd skip the put side. On the call side, if you sold the 85 and bought the 90, it's awfully close. 43 minus 14 divided by 2 divided by 500, less than 3%. We're going to skip Raytheon. Let's move on. Verizon Wireless, earnings as well. Yep, today before the open. Ugly, ugly chart. Let's see. Maybe sell call spread. Let's see what the calls are paying for December. If you sold the 37, you don't really get paid for it though, that's the problem. Then you might have to skip this one too. On the put side, if you sold the 31 and bought the 29, nah, skip this one, you don't get paid for it. Skip Verizon, up big today though, up 8%. Let's look at AT&T for the hell of it. Their earnings are, oh, they were today too. No, they were up a couple days ago, sorry about that. Ugh. What about T-Mobile? T-Mobile is tomorrow, so let's wait for T-Mobile, see what they do. Nextera. Earnings were this morning as well. A lot of earnings to go through. This is good though. We can start making more trades once we get past earnings. I hate opening positions before earnings. Up today. Did get a bounce here a couple days ago. Maybe more like a week or two ago. Could it keep that movement up? I'm not sure. Let's look at the put side. If you sold the 47, never mind, we're skip this one. Not enough liquidity. We got 10-point spreads here on both of them. That's too much. Same thing with the call side. Liquidity's too important. Next, Halliburton, HAL. Earnings they were today before the open. This is a post-earnings move. I have no bias towards the calls or the puts. It's kind of no man's land here. Let's take a look, see who's paying what. On the put side, if you sold the 35 and bought, you'd have to buy the 34. It's not worth it. If you sold the 36 and bought the 34, you get paid there. That's 62 minus 36. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 200. 6.5%. If you sold that, it's a $200 spread, so you're not really risking that much. On the call side, if you sold the 46 and bought the 49, that's 54 minus 21. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 300. 5.5% on the call side. Where's 46 on the chart? $46 is right about here. That's not unreasonable, though this is post-earnings. I don't know. I'm going to skip this one. There's better opportunities. Spotify's next, SPOT, up 10%. This is post-earnings. Here's our chart. Not crazy about this one. Not a lot of volume either. These spreads are too wide. A little bit of volume, but not as much as I'd like. Close, but no cigar. But good for them being up after earnings. Danaher, DHR is next. I think this is post-earnings as well. Yep, today before the open. A lot of movement already. Yeah, this makes sense. There's a bounce here. We may have already missed this one. If you sold a put spread at the open, you were a winner. What do we got on the puts? Not a lot of volume, though. 15-point spread here. On the call side, 10-point spread here. Nah, this is a no-go as well because of liquidity. HCA is next. Down 6%. Earnings were today before the open. Looks like they've already bounced as well. And that makes sense. Let's see the calls on the put side. Nothing here. Too illiquid. Alright, let's look at the TLT. I think we got a big bounce in the TLT today. Between yesterday and today. The bigger move was yesterday. If you sold the puts now, if you sold the 77 and bought the 72, that's 62 minus 23, divide that by 2, divide that by 500, almost 4%. Not that great, but it is the bond ETF. On the call side, if you sold the 92 and bought the 97, it's 59 minus 22, divide that by 2, divide that by 500, 3.7% return. Not as good either. Next, CRM. Earnings are December 6th. I think we were looking at selling puts yesterday. We never pulled the trigger. We should have. Let's see what the put side's selling now. If you sold the 175 and bought the 170, that's 224 minus 168. Divide that by 2. Divided by 500. 5.6 on the put side. Not bad. On the call side, if you sold the 230, bought the 240, that's $1,000 spread. Just be aware of that. So that's 224 minus 109. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 1,000. That's 5.7%. A little bit better. Or sell both sides and make it a condor. 175, 170. What do we got? $175 is right here. 175. I could totally get there. Could bounce off here and keep moving up. Let's keep going. Nvidia. Earnings on the 21st. We're a little less than a month away, so we got some time. Actually, you know what? It's kind of a no man's land here. We're going to skip on Nvidia just because it's so close to earnings and kind of a no man's land. There's no clear direction. Tesla. We tried opening a Tesla put spread. Damn, it didn't get filled yesterday, but if it did, it would have done really well today. May have missed this one. We tried. If you got filled though, good for you. If you look at the puts now, if you sold the 180, bought the 175, that's 347 minus 282 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6.5% on the put side. That's really good. Great liquidity here too. On the call side, if you sold the 260 and bought the 265, that's 400 minus 327. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 7.3% if you sold the call side. Where's 260 on the chart? Close. It's way right here. And this is post earnings. I don't know. It wasn't a good earnings report. All right. Netflix. We are post earnings. It had this jump up and it's continuing to move up. Getting closer to open a call spread. I'd like to open a call spread somewhere around 440 or so. Let's take a look at the calls. If you sold the 465 and bought the 470, not a lot of volume here. Kind of illiquid. Then again, it is a $400 stock. The put side, is that any better? If you sold the 360 and bought the 355. Son of a gun. What if we went up farther? If we sold the 345 and bought the 340. 287 minus 245. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 4.2. That's not good. Too far out, man. Back to the call side. If you sold the 480 and bought the 45, that's 289 minus 244. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 4.5% there. Not yet. We'll wait on this one. If it continues to move higher to around 440, we'll open something on the call side, okay? All right, let's go to our IV rank scanner. And we'll sort by volume. Still some volatility in the SPY. Let's check that out. I've got my position already open. Right here, we've got a 388, 393 put spread. That's all the way down here. 388 somewhere. Wow. 388's all the way down here. Doesn't mean it can't get there by December, but that's that. If you want to open something, December expiration. Here are mine. If you sold the 397 and bought the 392, that's 360 minus 299. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 6.1% on the put side. That's not bad. Got great liquidity here. Always. On the call side, if you sold the 452 and bought the 457, what do you get? 154 minus 92. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 6.2% if you sold the call side. I don't know. I wouldn't open the call side here. It's too late to sell the put side. You kind of missed that one. You have to wait for another move down, then open something on the put side. All right. Marathon Digital. NVIDIA has earnings on the 21st. Already looked at NVIDIA. Apple earnings. AMD earnings on Halloween. Amazon earnings. We already looked at the TLT here. Netflix has no volatility. That's why we passed on it. Microsoft, the 24th. So we've got Microsoft today after the close. We'll follow up with that one tomorrow. Verizon we already looked at. That was today. FXI. China. Let's look at China really quick. I know they were down a bit. FXI and KWeb. Oh, I already missed this one. If you want to sell something on the put side, you already missed it. Up almost 3% today. Good for them. Maybe open something on the call side if it gets to 27. Is this thing liquid? Yeah. Let's look at KWeb. That's Chinese Internet ETF. Up almost 4.5% today. I've traded this one for. Same thing, sell something around the 28, 29. We'll put this one on the list to watch the next couple days for the call side. All right. Baba, nothing. Palantir, earnings. Google, Google's today after the close. We'll keep an eye on that one tomorrow. Snapchat today as well. Coca-Cola, we're already out of that one. I wouldn't do anything anymore. Square earnings. Meta, earnings tomorrow. Raytheon, we already looked at. Bank of America's still up there, even though it's post-earnings by a couple days now. Almost a week now, actually. The XLF. Let's look at the XLF. We're not going to get paid as well because it's an ETF. Here's our chart. Yeah, should have sold puts yesterday, if anything. On the put side, though, it's too late. Skip this one. Skip this one altogether. GM, we already looked at. Gold. Gold's coming a lot. Look at that. This was in the 60s, I think, yesterday. Now it's already dropped down. Volatility in gold is subsiding. We have our position open. We're down $40, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. You can always roll. Here's our chart. We opened our position right here on the 13th. If you wanted to open something on the call side now, you would have wanted to do it a couple days ago because it's already moved down and volatility is coming out of there. Hold on gold. AT&T we looked at. PayPal has earnings. Intel, we already looked at, but they have earnings 2 days from now. Another China ETF. Spotify, we already looked at. Roblox has earnings on the 8th. JD, we'll skip that one. Next page. Earnings. JP Morgan is still up there, 44%. IV rank. Let's look at JPM. I think we looked at this one yesterday. Interesting. Post earnings move downwards like this. That's why they still have heightened volatility. On the put side, oh, you got red on the put and the call side. If you sold the 130, bought the 125, what do you get? 142 minus 88 divided by 2 divided by 500, 5.4% on the put side. On the call side, if you sold the 155 and bought the 160, you're not going to get paid for it. 56 minus 21 divided by 2 divided by 500, only 3.5%. The put side is interesting. 130 on the chart. All the way down here. That is interesting. Doesn't mean it can't get there. Yikes, so we'll keep JP Morgan on the list. Let's look at a couple more, then call it. We'll go back to GE. Earnings. Silver. MicroStrategy has earnings. Earnings here. Shopify we already looked at. DraftKings has earnings on the 2nd. I think they got an upgrade or something today. I can't remember. ARK we already looked at yesterday. ExxonMobil. We'll get the earnings on the oil companies later this week. That's good. Rivian earnings. Earnings here. Steel. We traded steel a couple months ago. That was fun. Earnings are in 2 days. Maybe we'll follow up there. Disney. What a mess of a company. Citigroup. Same thing. What a mess. ARM. Wonder when they have their earnings. We looked at this one right after the IPO. Let's take a look, see how they're doing. Earnings announcement on the 8th. All right, that's too close, but good to know they have earnings on the 8th. We'll follow up with them afterwards. It should be a pretty volatile event. XBI. We looked at that one yesterday. 3M we already talked about. Earnings. Pfizer has earnings on Halloween. Upstart has earnings. Earnings on Uber. KRE. Nextera. We already looked at Nextera, yeah. Lordy. Couple more. Airlines. USO. All right, let's go back to GE. I think on the call side, right? Still up there. Yeah. Maybe we can sell something on the call side here. All right, let's go to the option chain. Let's see what we get paid for the call side. We're selling the 125, 130. 125. It's 120 minus 52 Divide that by 2, divide that by 500, almost 7% if we sold the call side. Where's 125 on the chart? 125, it's close. 125 is right about here. That seems very fair. Okay, let's open this one. $125, 6-point spread here, 5-point spread here. So it's kind of a wider spread, but we should get filled. All right. And this is post earnings move, the 24th before the market. So we don't have to worry about earnings at all for this expiration. All right. So we're going to do the 125, 130. We'll go to verticals, sell the 125, 130 for December expiration. So we're going to sell one December expiration of the 125, that's a call, and buy one December expiration 130 strike on the call. Limit, and we're going to go with 70. Let's go with 77. I saw it. Receive a credit. All right, let's preview that. So sell one December 125, buy one 130. We're risking $500 on this trade. We're going to receive a credit of 77. Make sure we receive the credit. That's important. We'll send this one out. 77. Open here. All right. Let's do the math. 77 divided by 2. We'll set the buy to close order at 38 cents. Okay. So if this does get filled today, set the buy to close order limit good till canceled at 38 cents. That's 38 divided by 2 divided by 500. Looking for a 7.7% return. That's great, considering this is a post earnings move as well. All right, if it gets filled, great. If not, that's okay too. We'll come back tomorrow and look for something else. Good day today. If you liked what you saw, subscribe, tune in every day. We go live on the West Coast at 7:15 a.m., 10:15 a.m. on the East Coast. If you enjoyed watching this Coca-Cola trade, send a Venmo up here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Help support me, help support this channel. It keeps things going. If not, that's all right too. Just watch. Tell your friends that are trading options to tune in as well. We can all help each other together and go over some good ideas. All right. Good job today. Another good day. We'll see you all tomorrow.